Here's one thing I don't understand. And just, if you look at the Bournemouth and Wolves games, and if you look at the game yesterday, we
Yeah.
roughly play the same players. It's not like we played a bunch of kids against Wolves or Bournemouth. And sure, Harry Ama started. I think
Yeah, but he played well.
Fredrickson started a game. No, but I'm saying broadly, the rest of the players. I mean, Bruno played both the games, so we were playing we were playing full strength.
Bruno, Bruno's the guy, when you have soccer tournaments, he plays for like multiple teams. Like he's that player.
In the same
They
game.
have a free, yeah, in the same game. Like,
He
No,
will
so
go and play like the retirees match also.
no, so
In
what I'm
every
saying
game
is,
he'll play.
we played close to full strength sides in both the games, right?
yeah,
And we were comprehensively outplayed in both matches, and not just the two in those two matches, but kind of throughout the season domestically. And not a lot of sides in the league are better than Bilbao. I would say Bilbao is a very very good side, and yet the results are what they are. So why do you think that is? Like, how is the
yeah. But I
same
mean,
group of players playing so bad domestically that they
I,
look so uninspiring, so out of sorts? You know,
I have strong feelings
like we are
about this, and
15th in
like
the
I was,
table. If we are fourth in the table and we kind of gave up, I'd be like, sure, man, these guys got top four, they don't care. But we are 15th or 16th or whatever it is, man. I don't care. But we were flirting with relegation till a couple of game weeks ago.
I think, like, okay, like before I dive into it, like Bilbao were better than us. Like I do feel like the red card really turned
Yeah,
things in our favor.
yeah,
I I think overall they were the much better team, and we saw flashes of what they can do.
yeah,
Having said that, I do think the Premier League. I don't think the top teams in the Premier League are better than the top teams in La Liga, but I think the general team in the Premier League is like we're more used to playing at a higher intensity, like Bilbao, throughout this course of the season. That doesn't make the Premier League football better. I'm just talking about
yeah.
the
Mm.
approach, right? So I think in that sense, Bilbao are a very English seeming side because they play really high intensity all game, and it did feel like a PL game at some point because
Yeah.
25 minutes in and then you only had three chances. I was like, yes, this is familiar. Uh, Having said that, and this is a pet peeve of mine. I think the reason this happens, right? Like we're 15th, and for whatever reason, players look clocked out, right? But when you're a club that enters a league season and you don't have a defined goal, right? Because if your goals or your best chances in the season are like top four or top six, right? If you zoom out, that's not a real goal. It's not okay. Maybe to some extent, top four has become a goal of sorts,
Yeah, getting
but
European football to take top five, top six.
and that works in certain aspects, right? But the problem with having top four as your solitary hope for a season is a team is bound to suffer a lot of inconsistency because a few losses go in there, and it's like, what are you fighting for? You don't even have a shot at top four, then you suddenly dropped into sixth, seventh, eighth, and that starts feeling very different, right? I mean, we sacked ETH when we were well, I think we sacked him when we were way lower, but we finished eighth last season, and that felt like a failure without the FA Cup, right? So I feel like the danger when you're a yo-yo club in that range is you don't have a defined goal, right? Part of why Arsenal's seasons have appeared and been more competitive since 22-23 is Arteta has them gunning for the title.
Yeah.
They're not going to win it. We know that. Maybe they know that. Everyone else knows that. But but having said that, their goal is in their heads,
No,
winning the
Somdeep,
title.
I agree. But even when Arsenal's goal was top four, maybe they finished fifth or sixth. They didn't finish 14th or 15th. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. We are 14th today in the Premier League.
that was a
Like, sure,
different
if you're
era
eighth
in
or
terms of
if you're eighth or ninth, I would have agreed with you, right? That we're a top four, top
right.
six yo-yo club. Other sides just did better than us, and we came eighth, like last season, right? We were eighth. We had
Right.
injuries, we had new players, an injury, so the team didn't gel. And Eric was a jackass, so we finished eighth. But
Yeah.
this season, we are 14th. Like teams like Crystal Palace are above us, or
Yeah,
Bournemouth,
but
or
there are
Fulham. Like,
but there are special reasons for why we are in that dump, right? Like you look at Palace, right? But Palace wanted to play a three at the back, and they've been kind of trying to do that for like the last two managers.
hmm,
They kind of have a squad which supports those roles. They have players who can play wing back and stuff. So they, when they wanted to hire the next manager, they're like, okay, we'll get in Glasner, who's well known for often employing that system, and that's exactly what he did.
man,
So,
LVG played three at the back with a bunch of misfits, and still we what came sixth.
well, we did get top four in his first season and
Yeah,
fifth in the FA Cup in his second. They,
right.
but you have to also remember that LVG was a very experienced top level manager. Yeah, he had issues, but he was also fundamentally very experienced at that level. It
Hmm.
wasn't like a complete shock to him. But uh, okay, there are two problems to this. One is like why United suffers from this, and one is the danger of the yo-yo club. Right?
Yeah,
Look at Spurs. Like Spurs have a better squad than us. You'd agree, right, Rohan? You too.
yeah. No, I mean,
So
even if you
Yeah.
consider when Eric was fired,
Uh,
Eric was fired in what, game week 11 after the Leicester game?
yeah, that's
Uh,
right.
and at game week 11, we were what, 14th? No, sorry.
I
Come
think we
on.
were 13th.
Yeah, something like that. We were still bad. So even if you say Amorim and three at the back, it's not like when Eric got fired, we were doing better. It's not like we went from 8th to 14th, right? We went from 14th to 14th.
It's because last season, coming eighth, was a pretty accurate reflection of the quality of our squad. Like we didn't deserve to be higher, even if you look at the
Hmm.
underlying data and so on. It was fairly the right position, right? We ended the season in eighth, and I always feel that the quality of your defense and attack decides how low you can fall on the table, and the quality of your midfield decides how high you can climb
Hmm.
relative to each other, right? So we ended the season in eighth. We lacked goals. We didn't really fix the goal scoring issues. Like we brought in Zirkzee, but he isn't really a effective goal scorer, right?
Yeah.
So we kind of stayed at the eighth level or maybe dropped to 10th because other teams improved
Yeah, I
in
think
the
we were
summer
10th when
around us.
Tenag got fired, but again, it was very close. We were like only a few points above
Yeah.
14th or whatever. So,
Admittedly, though, we were 4 points off top four
sure.
because it was earlier in the season. But yeah, we weren't that great. So yeah, like not upgrading the goal scorers, that makes us automatically around the 10th level. When you're a team whose rough quality is top 10, like you're pretty much a yo-yo club at that point. Forget the title. I mean, you don't have any clear defined goals. Like, what's the aim for the season? Get Conference League football? What's the motivating factor for any game in the season going to be? I feel what happens at that point is players mentally check out,
Hmm.
and too much effort in the league becomes kind of not so worthwhile. Like it just becomes survive and coast through the season, almost like a tank season in basketball. And and Spurs and United have done that this year. You combine that with the fact that Europa no longer allows Champions League teams to drop into them, and it makes even more sense to prioritize that ahead of the league.
Hmm.
Having said that, 10th is roughly the level of our team, and we've changed managers from one system to the other. So I think it's pretty reasonable that we're around that position right now. I don't think we're better than that
Yeah.
with or without Amarim. What do you think, Rohan? Like, do you think this team belongs higher?
I actually agree with you on that. And it's see when Amorim came in, uh, it was it was like a major change. When Ineos came in, it was a major change.
right?
And yeah, it's like completely different system. We know we knew there are there are players at the club that we need to move on, that we knew that new players
Mm.
have to come in. So when that it is that kind of a situation, and you know that Amorim is going to take time to settle in because he's also not that experienced, as he pointed out only. So when you are in that situation, it makes sense that the goals aren't very well defined. It's more about just survival this season, and
Yeah, exactly.
trying. And even I think even for Europa, I think we did not really define too much. Like we are gonna reach the semis and then see, or we're gonna reach the final, try to reach the final. I think that goal was also not defined. Like that would be my guess. It
Yeah,
was more about surviving the Premier League this season and not going too much towards relegation, like trying to
correct.
stay in the middle somewhere. And that was, I think, the only thing that we were looking at. Somehow we have kind of done well in the Europa now, like we have reached there. Okay. So
No, but
now it kind of motivates them now to go and actually get it,
yeah, but see again,
So
that's the thing. If we couldn't qualify for Europe, let's say we were knocked out of the Europa in, I don't know, a couple of rounds ago, right? And it's not like magically then we would start playing better in the league to get
We
some
wouldn't.
European spot.
no. That
Like we're
that
not
that
even,
wasn't
if we're
gonna
far
that
away
wasn't
even
gonna
from
happen.
conference league positions right now, and that would have completely destroyed our squad setup for the next few seasons. There would be a fire sale in the summer. Even now, if
Yeah,
we lose the Europa League, even the
which is
next,
very possible.
yeah, if
Yeah,
we lose
Yeah,
against Bilbao
yeah.
4-0 or even against Tottenham in the final, there has to be a fire sale. The club is like our whole club is set up expecting European revenue. Like even when we drop from Champions League to Europa League, our club's finances take a hit. And now imagine there's no Europa or any conference or any European competition revenue. Our club is completely dead. We're already broke as shit, right? Um, we are laying off so many people. Yes, I don't
yeah.
agree the manner in which we're laying off people, but you got to agree that we have to do these layoffs because we are so deep in the red, right? And it just boggles the mind that how soon we gave up on the league, because if we did not have this Europa journey that we're having, the club would have been basically dead and you could have forgotten the next 5 seasons.
No, but
And I,
we didn't have the personnel also to go and get sixth for the Premier League, right? To get in the first top six spots.
No,
I
I
mean,
We
mean
are
I
we are
conference
not
league is
we are
still
not in that
8th or
think the
9th.
position
So
as
do
level.
you
well.
think this side is not even a top 10 club in the league or
I
a
think it's
top
a
8,
top
top
eight
9,
squad.
right?
I think it's a top eight, top nine
Yeah,
squad.
and
I
we
don't
are
think it's better
14th.
than
So
that.
that's the thing I'm saying.
Yeah. I definitely don't think we're better than eighth, but I do think we
Yeah,
can.
but we are at least, it's a side good enough to get at least the conference league is what I'm saying, and we are far away from any of that.
No,
The
but that
only
that potential is always kind of misleading in that sense, right? Like it's not necessary that even if we have, let's say you are right, and we have that kind of a squad where we can at least reach top six, top eight conference places. Yeah, but still, realistically, it doesn't add up to because the Premier League is such a competitive league. Like you see so many teams, even who are
Mm.
on par with us or even slightly better, even they keep going, like they are also yo-yo.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not a guarantee that some potential will translate to what the
Mm.
position will be in the league.
No, agreed. But I think at least we should have been kind of in that neighborhood, right? If not eight, at least like ninth or
yeah.
10th, at least fighting for that and having some hope of, finishing, say, in a conference league spot. But we are like far away, man. We are like 11 points off 10th
I
from
mean,
Bournemouth. So,
I mean, we haven't even cracked the 40-point barrier. Like I
yeah,
had predicted earlier in the season that we may not, and we had 11 games. So I was kind of half joking at that point. But now there's what, 3 games left, and
four.
we're still 1 point short.
We have four
Okay,
games
four
left
games.
and 1 point short. And
Yeah,
our
and I don't.
fixtures remaining are also tough. It's not, we don't have easy
Yeah,
fixtures coming up.
I think we have Villa, and like we have tough games coming up. I don't
We
think
we have
it's
Brentford, West Ham, Chelsea, and Villa.
The only one I might see us having a shot at is West Ham, and even that's a difficult one.
Yeah.
I think part of why the overall makeup of the squad feels like it's top 10, but
Mm.
where we kind of drop off is goals. Because if you
Yeah,
look at Wolves,
yeah,
right, like Wolves have a comparable squad to us, but where they definitely have better personnel is in attack.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
of course they have Matheus Cunha, who's I think scored like 12 to 15 goals in the Premier League alone this season as a 10. But they also have Jorgen Strand Larsen, who's on 14 goals. Uh, we don't have players who can hit those numbers in the Premier League, even if they want to, even if we want them to.
Mm.
And I feel that's a big part of why we're on the bad side of the yo-yo. Like we're gonna be
yeah.
a yo-yo club for a while, but it's trending downward right now. And
That's the thing, right? Personal was a big factor when Amorim came in,
Mm.
and like
yeah, and
even yeah. Go ahead.
and like you're saying that the kind of I do have concerns with Amarim's handling of the Premier League season. The only saving grace for him is the fact that we don't have recognized goal scorers. That's kind of like he may be useless or he may be a great coach, but without a goal scorer, that kind of excuse will always be valid
Yeah.
for him. And really, I mean, where do we get goals from in our squad, right? Like even I don't know where.
Bruno Fernandes.
Pretty much, and the guy's playing DM,
Yeah.
so it's tough.